Hello, thank you for coming over. I wanted to do a house tour. Come on in and I will show you around. So we bought, my husband and I, Scott, bought a townhouse in the suburbs of Phoenix February, and it's now the end of June. It was in need of remodeling, so that was great because he has experience doing that already, and he saved us a lot of money remodeling everything himself with a little bit of help from me. But it was hard to find something in our price range that we wanted and that had what we needed. So basically we were looking for a townhouse because we can't afford single family homes in this area. We wanted like 2 covered parking spaces. We didn't want carpet. We needed it to be easy to ferret proof, like with baby gates. We also wanted, which is very uncommon here, an indoor laundry facility. Apparently they all throw them outside in storage areas, which is weird. I don't want to go outside to do laundry. And we also wanted all electric, so no gas range, water heater, etc. I just don't think it makes sense to pay for gas when electric can do everything, save some money. So I'll show you around, show you what we changed, what was original. The house was built in 1980. It has all tile floors. This came that way. This is the entryway, which also a lot of properties didn't have. There's not a whole lot of decor right now. There's an entry closet, a coat closet, which a lot of properties did not have. Ta-da! Not much to it. One thing that we noticed was that all the knobs were dark, either black or oil rubbed bronze, and so I used that to kind of decorate the rest of the property. The light fixture up here used to be silver, but I spray painted it black because we decided black was going to be our fixture color. So there's a lovely arched doorway here, which I don't think was all that common in the 80s. It's more of a 40s thing. Here's our hallway. This is the linen closet, which until last weekend was a linen cabinet with the original hideous brown stripy, I don't even know if it was particle board, but old-fashioned, he's nodding, it's particle board, old-fashioned, not great cabinets. The door also opened like this way, so you couldn't get into this bedroom with the door open, but now, thanks to Scott's expertise, we have a linen closet with built-in shelves, which he cut and we painted and installed. The tile there matches the bedrooms. Because we had some left over, we cut this door, painted it to size, or cut this door to size, painted it, etc. And it's a lot better than having a cabinet, especially since the door can open all the way and before it couldn't. So this is the guest bedroom, which is really the dance studio. In my first condo in Chicago, it was a 2-bedroom as well, and I used the second bedroom as a dance studio, which was kind of great. And when we first saw the property, I believe I saw this room before most of the rest of the house, and I said, Scott, we're taking it, because most of the other townhouses around here aren't this big for a guest bedroom. You can do a lot of great things in here, such as I wasn't stretched. So anyway, I did that when we were looking at the place, and great thing about it for a dance studio is that it has this wonderful mirrored closet door system. I did paint this black because it was kind of an antique goldish color, and it didn't go with the rest of the house, and I figured why not. I really needed some place to store my exercise stuff, so this thing came from Amazon and it's worked great. It's got room for these weights, these yoga blocks, this thing which helps me stretch pretty well. You didn't see that. On this side, I fit a Sterilite drawer system for my Halloween costumes, for my fabric and sewing supplies. And then over here is a very, I think it's 1967 sewing machine, Sears Kenmore, that I've had for a long time. I don't sew that much anymore because I haven't had anything I needed to make, but I still really enjoy it. And that's Molly. I have a very large Pleasant Company Molly collection. I got her when I was 10, or maybe actually 11, so she's great. This is the guest bathroom. I would have preferred just having one bathroom because I'm not a fan of cleaning bathrooms, but whatever, they mostly have 2 bathrooms here. Everything is plywood box cabinetry. We got shaker cabinets, white, because I'm kind of a huge fan of those. Everything's soft close. Scott actually assembled this with me, and he installed it himself. And the counters are quartz, which we had a local counter company do that. They installed the sink as well. That was the only thing that Scott didn't do himself because it's kind of heavy. So he installed the faucets. We went with black again. The toilet is not original to the 80s, but it's been here a while and it serves its purpose. It's also pretty low flow. This is the tub and shower thing. We don't use it, but we did install this as well. Scott took care of this. It was originally chrome, which didn't match, the whole black thing we were going for. There were also 2 faucets, or 2 knobs here, which is kind of like weird if you are taking a shower and the temperature's not right, and you're trying to figure it out. It's just like, I don't like going back and forth between both of them. It's nice to have just one thing to mess with. Also something in here that prevents scalding, so it's a lot safer than it used to be. I remember before we did this, we were showering, specifically Scott was showering, and I did something with the faucet, and he screamed because it was ridiculously hot, and I said I was sorry, and he said, that's it, I'm putting a scald risk thing in our new faucets. So he did that, and it has been a lot better. And this is pretty cool because I don't know if this is just normal with shower heads these days, but it's got a feature where you can change the settings so that it's got a lot lower pressure, which I do when I'm shaving because I don't need the water coming down all of me. I just want to lather up. I'll turn the water down so the pressure is different, but I don't have to mess with the actual knob. And then I turn it back when I need to rinse off, and it saves water, and it's great. We got the shower curtain from Amazon. It's I think a waffle weave pattern. The rugs are from Amazon as well. They're this really cool chenille thing. It's kind of dense. A lot of the other ones were kind of not as dense and floppy and didn't feel as good. And I think the hardware here came from Amazon as well, although I recall finding identical ones for both bathrooms, and one I found on Facebook Marketplace for a lot cheaper, so that was great. Now we're headed into the master bedroom. We installed this Nest thermostat, which knows when we're not home, so that it adjusts the thermostat or the temperature to be more uncomfortable for humans, but still safe for ferrets. We also have 2 Nest smoke detectors as well. Don't need carbon monoxide detectors if you have all electric. That's a plus. All right, so first there is the master bathroom, which is basically identical to the guest bathroom. One thing I did not mention in the other bathroom was that I did also spray paint the light fixtures on both of those there, black. They were originally chrome. We were going to replace the exhaust fans because they didn't work that great. So we couldn't fit them because of some strange retrofitting issue where the new ones just didn't fit. We replaced the cover and the motor. Another thing Scott did a lot of, which when you look at the house, it doesn't look like it costs that much money, but I would say half of what we spent went toward things you can't see, and some of that was on the roof. He cleaned out the dryer duct vent, and he was over here for the bathrooms and put like this mesh over it so that leaves don't fall in and mess with everything. You don't want the exhaust fan out working because there's a bunch of leaves in it. So anyway, fun fact about the bathroom here, the cabinet was not originally this one. As you'll see, this is a mirror image of the other bathroom, and we originally had 2 bath cabinets that had drawers on this side, and we installed them without realizing it wasn't going to work because you can't open this door with the drawers open. So after one sleepless night, we decided just to ask the cabinet people if we could have a replacement, And after like a week, they said, yes, you can get a replacement for free, which is great. So we got this
We
one.
ordered. They didn't send us what we ordered.
Yeah, that was it. They sent us the wrong one, which was part of it. But they wanted you to let them know before you assemble them, because they don't really take it back after you assemble it. But they did this time, so I was happy about that, because it would have cost us another $800, which I wasn't thrilled with. We did replace the toilet here. It was a round bowl, which is not super comfortable for Scott. So we got an elongated bowl, which it's good for me too. There's a bidet, which had a bidet for a long time, and I can't live without them anymore. Here's the shower here. It's just a shower, no tub. But then the same thing where we have there were two handles here. So this escutcheon covers up the holes where those handles were. So that's why it looks really big and awkward. But even though it looks kind of big and awkward, it's way better than having two handles and having to figure out your temperature and not doing it right. These rugs also came from Amazon. This came from actually Macy's a few years ago, but I think it's on Amazon as well. All right, here's the master bedroom. It's quite big. I asked Scott if I could use it for my dance studio, and he said no, so I guess he doesn't love me that much. I'm kidding, he does. Anyway, we didn't do a lot here. As I said earlier, the tile floors were already in place, and I hate carpet, so tile's great for me. There is a ceiling fan here that we installed, same with the other bedroom. There was just like a little, cover for it already pre-wired, but for some reason, after 40 years, nobody put in a ceiling fixture, which is weird. The lights are recessed, but we live in Arizona, so we still need a fan. There's a very large closet over here. This is also mirrored, and I did also paint that frame so that it would be black and match the rest of the house pretty well. This room needs some more decoration, or I guess it could use it. It doesn't actually need it. But this is my childhood dresser. I painted it during COVID. It's my childhood nightstand that I also painted during COVID. You don't care, but anyway, that's that. Here we are in the living room. The living room is pretty big, and it has, as well as the bedrooms, these dimmable lights, which we had in one of our Chicago condos, and we really enjoy having that as a feature. The ceiling fan was original. We did not replace it because it works fine, but I like the white fans in the bedroom, so I think I'm going to spray paint this white at some point. The bookcases here are built in. They were part of the property when we bought it. We really like them, so I kind of like the focal point of it. There's a lot going on in the bookcases. I guess I'll tell you about them. That's my Tinder heart from when I was a kid. The rest of those are Scott's. Scott's Jewish. This is a few family heirlooms. This is our cake topper from when we got married. He made it. This is something a friend of his made. I made all of these stuffed ferrets. These are some dorky things he likes. His books. On this side, there's a bunch of skulls because he works with monkey brains. My books, my journals. Some art that a coworker had made for him when he left Chicago. Picture of him because he used to work at Disney World back in college. This is something my yoga instructor made. Some games, my pony collection from childhood, ferret toys nobody plays with. So I've owned ferrets for 18 years now, and they're great. I love them, and I cannot be without them. But ferret proofing is a whole thing, and finding a house that is good for ferrets or like works for them is a whole thing. That's one reason I don't like carpet. They'll poop on the carpet and then the stain's there for God knows how long. I needed something that I could easily ferret proof and wouldn't be, just awkward. So one thing I like about this living room is that it's got a nice little entryway here, so you can put a ferret gate up, keep them out of the bedrooms and bathrooms. Same thing on this side. This blocks off the dining room and the kitchen and the laundry room, so they're really contained. One thing we like about these Regalo gates is that the opening is quite easy to use with just like a finger. And the bar spacing is quite wide for ferrets, so we put corrugated plastic on, just zip tie it, cut it to the right size, zip tie it on. and then this becomes ferret safe. One thing when you have ferrets that you also need to consider is your sitting furniture, if the ferrets are in the living room, because a lot of couches, they're gonna get stuck underneath the cushions, or they'll go underneath the couch and get in the springs underneath. Futons, however, are not like that because they're just built differently. So we got this futon a few years ago, and it has springs in it. It's really comfortable, and I think the reason it's comfortable is because it has the springs. Most other futon mattresses will kind of flatten out really quickly. This has not done that. We really like it. Oh, this is something Scott made, I think during COVID actually. The pieces, the wood, is plywood from our first condo's remodel. We did the same thing with the cabinets in that one. So this was extra that we had, and he made a coffee table that turns into a table, so we can work on, my laptop or just eat while we're watching TV. And this is a really great piece that I think he made for about $300 in parts or so. I didn't mention this, but this is like a real life, I'm not cleaning this up kind of video. We did clean, obviously, not that long ago, but this is what it looks like. There's ferret litter boxes on the floor. So this is life, and they didn't poop in it yet because they're still asleep. But I use, I think this is like a storage container we've cut up. We filed down the side so it wouldn't be sharp with like, I guess only sandpaper did it. And then we have these reusable pee pads, cotton on one side, and this is, I forget what it's called, I'll put it in the description, but it's a liner usually used for diaper bags. PUL perhaps. And then I just get free newspapers from people, so I don't have to pay for a bunch of litter, and that's great.
Okay.
So, I have not owned a yard in my adult life because we've always lived in condos and stuff. So this is a pretty...
Vegas?
Vegas doesn't count. I didn't own that house. I paid for it, but I didn't own it. Anyway, there's a nice good sized yard here, and I found out that this type of house is actually called a patio home in the area, and I don't know why it's not just called a townhouse. It is a townhouse legally, but it's a patio home because it's single story. That was one thing we really wanted. I don't want to do stairs. And it's got a yard, it's got an attached garage, and all that stuff means patio home in Phoenix. So this is our backyard. The backyard was pretty much like this, all hardscaped with the exception of this synthetic grass, which I'm a fan of. There was a very tall tree. There was a very tall tree in this corner, but we have since learned that it had something called sooty canker, which is a fungus, and it killed the tree. And so we had to take it down, which was kind of sad because there was a carpenter bee living in it, which I didn't realize was a pest that lives in dead trees. That would have been a clue. So the carpenter bee was running around like trying to find where its home was, and we had destroyed it. And I felt like a hurricane or some evil entity, deity really, that ruined its life. When it's not hot, we would like to bring the ferrets out here with leashes to be safe. And these drainage holes would have been not ferret safe. So Scott put this chicken wire on to keep the ferrets from sneaking into our neighbors' yards. And he's really good at ferret proofing stuff. So that's one other thing to consider if you have ferrets. So I guess it's been almost a year since I started fostering ferrets. Actually, no, I fostered Callie before Diddy came along, so it's been a little bit over a year. I foster ferrets for Arizona Ferret Rescue in Phoenix. Generally, they're all senior ferrets nobody wants, or they have some kind of illness that's a little bit, makes them unadoptable. I guess I'll have to wake him up, but this is the Ferret Nation cage here. I used to have one that was just one level, and then I started fostering him, Diddy. And the other ferret we had, Callie, wasn't getting along with him because she's kind of high maintenance. But I couldn't let Diddy go to a home because I love him so much. So I decided to foster more ferrets so Diddy could have playmates and then get a second level for the Ferret Nation. And you can separate these cages. So this comes up and you can divide it and make it safe for, you know, having 2 groups in the cage. So we did that for a while till they all started to get along. But that's why I have this very tall Ferret Nation cage. It's a very good cage if you have ferrets or are interested in ferrets because it's very easy to clean, and the company will, like, you can just buy parts that are broken from the company. You don't have to buy a whole new cage. It's just a good cage. It's good. This is Diddy. He is probably 7 now. He was 6 when we first started fostering him. Nothing was wrong with him except that he had, what do you call it?
ECE?
Oh yeah, he had ECE, so he couldn't go back to the shelter because he had to get like quarantined. So I said I'll take him for 2 weeks, and then the 2 weeks were up, and I said I'm keeping him. Ha ha ha! I love him too much. Diddy, will you give me kisses? What are you chewing on? He's grinding his teeth. All right. This is Ivy. This is Ivy, our newest foster. She has renal failure, so she needs subcutaneous fluids every other day to keep her kidneys functioning. And we shaved her so I could see where to inject her with those because it's really hard for me to do it otherwise. She's probably also 5 or 6. Lucy is one that we started fostering because Diddy needed a playmate, or he doesn't play with her. He needed someone to sleep with who wasn't mean old Callie. And Lucy's probably also 6 by now.
She came with another ferret.
She was originally fostered with a ferret named Luna. And Luna passed away maybe 4 months after we took her in. We don't really know Lucy's age though. She was from New Mexico originally, and I feel like she was in a room with no air conditioning. I forget what the story was. So we took her, or the shelter took her. She's a good girl though. This is a box of cornstarch packing peanuts, which are ferret safe because if they get wet, like if they try to eat them, it'll just dissolve and they can digest them sort of safely. This is Abby. She loves sleeping in the packing peanuts. We've been fostering her for about 6 months for the same reason as Ivy. She's got renal failure, but she just won't die, so I don't know. It's like they do a lot better when they're fostered. She has a back that's also shaved because I can't see where to inject them otherwise. And sadly, she's got a little bruise because I think I must have done it wrong last night. I'm not really sure. This is our laundry room, which, as I said before, is inside the house, thank goodness. It has the same exact appliances we had in our apartment, so that's cool. We know how to use them and they work fine. I did paint the light fixture here. I believe it was also some kind of silver. Spray painted that. There is very deep built-in shelves that were here when we bought the place. Right now, nothing's going on with our storage system here. It was supposed to be for like holiday decorations and tools and Scotch shoes, but it also holds all the newspapers for the ferret, litter boxes, and stuff we're getting rid of on Buy Nothing groups, I guess. We need to work on this. The garage, I won't really show you much of, but I do want you to see one selling feature, guys, in the garage. This garage came with an air-conditioned, or I should say HVAC, I don't even know the term, central air, whatever. It's got central air. It's got the stuff from our house event. And it's a workshop little place, which I thought Scott was going to cut wood in, but he says it's too small and there would be too much dust everywhere. So right now it's just storage, but maybe it will be organized in the future. You get a shot of the vents if you haven't already. This is the dining room, which is something I also haven't really had in quite a while. It's got a light fixture here that we installed. I see a bug in there, holy cow. There was a ceiling fan for some reason in the dining room. I don't know whose idea it was to put a fan in the dining room. No, I don't know. So anyway, we put a real light in. The The table here is something I looked online for a while, and we finally found one. I wanted something that was going to be big enough for us to have dinner parties of like 6 people, but not so big that it was always in the way. Because apparently, according to the internet, this dining room is too small for a 6-person table. And now the dining table fits 6 people, and we can just push it up against the wall for parties if we're just serving a bunch of food here. And this is great. And this playbill poster thing I made is just a collection of all the musicals Scott and I saw before we got married. This one was great. This shot glass cabinet is probably the first thing Scott ever made for me. When we moved into our first apartment together about a year after dating, I think I told him I was putting the shot glasses in a cabinet, and he said, "Oh, I can make one." And he did, and it's great. It's got plexiglass here, and it's made out of some kind of wood, I don't know. So now we're at the kitchen, where the magic happens, and this is where Scott spent a lot of his time.
We don't have sex in the kitchen.
This is where Scott spent a lot of his time, and we spent a lot of our money. And it's a really great kitchen. It has the shaker cabinets we mentioned before. I don't think I mentioned the black hardware here. I don't know. They're just so straight. I like how they're not fancy. They just look so good. I'm sorry, and I love picking those out. They're from Amazon as well. The cabinets we assembled ourselves. Scott installed them using something called an easy level, which was not as difficult as it might sound, but you basically just drill a hole into the toe kick before you cover it up with a decorative toe kick, and you level it with a thingy that I'll link. He also had this laser light that I guess was gyroscopic, so he knew exactly where the height was supposed to be for everything when he screwed everything in. As I said, all he didn't do was install the counters because they're very heavy, and the people who did install them did a very good job. This is almost exactly the original footprint of the kitchen. It really is, but the original kitchen did not have anything in these back corners, like just empty with counter covering it. Wasted space, made me mad. So the cabinet we put on this side is called a blind base, where it goes very deep. We have party supplies back there and alcohol mostly. I think some cleaning supplies perhaps. And on this side, we decided to put in a Lazy Susan cabinet, which was a great idea because it uses all that corner space. The one thing I will say about the company that made the cabinets is that they didn't tell us how high to put the shelves and how far back to put this part on it, so that was a little bit figured out yourself, stressful. We did keep the original, well, not really original from the 80s, but I think it's from 2014. The Samsung dishwasher was here when we got here. I was gonna put a stainless steel one in or get a different cover for it, but it kind of ties in with the black features on the range, so we kept it. The range is also induction, which is fabulous if you can afford it and you have an electric range and no gas, because it not only heats things up faster, it doesn't heat up you when you're out here cooking, so you can just cook, turn on the vent, and like it doesn't feel like the room is hot. So it's amazing. One fun thing we found when we were doing this kitchen is originally these cabinets were empty basically, so we thought that this vented inside. Most microwaves don't vent outside because of the structure of the property. So we were going to just put the vent through this soffit up here and go out the wall. However, when they were demoing the cabinets, Scott realized that someone did originally vent for this to go to the roof, and they shoved the cabinets up against it and decided not to vent the microwave up. There was no microwave either, but they decided not to vent the range up through the roof like they should have, so that was weird. I don't know why anyone would do that. So we installed that vent, and the microwave vents outside, which is great because that means it's never smoky in here. We made burgers for our housewarming party, and it was not smoky in here. It was smoky outside because I put leaves in the fire pit, but it wasn't smoky in here. So that was cool. And then this thing also used to just be cabinets, and we put in drawers, which are a really great feature. Drawers are wonderful. There was a pantry cabinet here, and we put the same size one in, but we don't need this much space. So anyway, we don't like to buy a whole bunch of food at once. And the refrigerator we did install. This is basically the exact same one as what we had in our first condo, except it's slightly wider, but it's the same basic model, and it works great. And one thing Scott did, which is pretty clever, is he wanted to get like a filter system for the under the sink. So this is filtered water, but he also routed the filter here through to the fridge. And he got some kind of, like, the fridge doesn't work without the filter, like the water part, but I guess they make some that bypass whatever RFID code, I don't know, whatever is doing it to make it require a filter. So you got this thing that bypasses the need of a filter, and the water here is the same as what's filtered there, which I guess is probably better quality than the filter that would have come from this one, right? So that's cool, and he like just went underneath, like through all the cabinets. I can't think of anything else to say about this place except that we love the kitchen. People have said it's kind of small, but we don't feel like it's small when we're in here. We love the house. Everything about it is great. We are very fortunate that we were able to afford it and afford a remodel. And I will say that we probably saved quite a lot on what we would have paid a contractor to do this, because it cost us about $17,000, and that includes all the things you don't see, like replacing the water main because that was broken, and some other faucet stuff and behind the scenes things. Oh, and Scott also bought these things, which, since if water has dripped out of your faucets, not your faucets really, your plumbing in the cabinets, and it turns off the faucets, like it'll go behind the wall where the water comes in.
Main shut off.
It turns off the main? Oh, okay. It turns off the main. We did have some like this that turned off the source of that particular appliance. I think we use it for our washing machine in our first condo. So these things, you know, hidden things that cost home ownership, or, you know, remodel things that don't really, you don't think about. When you look at the cabinets and counters and the appliances, you're like, that's not $70,000, but we did a lot more than that. We like cleaned and sealed all the tile grout, which didn't cost a lot, but took a long time. And he installed the faucets, he installed everything you see except for the counters, or everything that I said didn't already exist. Anyway, he's a very impressive man, and I'm really glad to have him. And we really like living here, and I don't know, we're just really fortunate that we could afford to buy something, and we were fortunate that we found something that was not remodeled, because I hate paying for someone else's labor, and I'd rather do it myself or ask my husband to do it because he's good at that and he is strong. I could do it if I were strong, right? Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm sure it's longer than I expected it to be, and I hope you found some value in the ferret-proofing side of things, and in kind of the remodel stuff. And thank you. Enjoy your weekend.